For anyone that's watched my videos in the last couple of weeks, as a Real Madrid fan, I have praised this Barca team. I have praised them for how they have looked in possession, our possession. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Fermin Lopez, Ferran Torres at times. The back four has been good as well, and the midfield, Pedri, Frankie. I have praised this football team. I have praised Flick. But tonight, I'm sorry, I can't praise that team because that was a bad performance. That was really, really bad. That's probably one of the worst Barcelona performances I have seen in a while. And that was really, really lucky because Barcelona won, Newcastle won, and Barcelona were very, very lucky to come away with a draw tonight in the Champions League. Barca did that thing where they just don't play well for the first half at all. And the problem is, when you're playing in the Champions League, and this is why I've been saying that Barcelona are going to struggle in the Champions League, because in that first half, Barcelona just kept giving the ball away. Barcelona kept, not being able to retain possession. And they were constantly giving Newcastle chances upon chances to run at them with Gordon, Alanga and so forth. It was unbelievable the amount of space that Barca was given, purely because there just wasn't keeping the ball well. Yes, Pedri was there on his own. Frankie, of course, isn't there. We also seen Eric Garcia miss out tonight, which is a huge miss as well in the build-up phase. Araujo was a right back tonight. You had Gerard Martin, you had Kurbasi as centre backs, and left back was Cancelo. So there wasn't enough balance in terms of the back four. The possession wasn't great because, of course, in build-up without Eric Garcia for Frankie, the only person that's doing the build-up is Pedri. So you are going to struggle with that. But I just wanted to see more from Barca tonight, and he just wasn't good enough because, of course, Lamine Yamal started this game, didn't do much for all of the game. I didn't see him do much. I didn't see him get involved enough. I didn't see his quality on show tonight because after the first 15 to 20 minutes, Newcastle were banging him. But then Barca just tried taking over. But there wasn't enough emphasis. There wasn't enough oomph on this team today. There wasn't enough intensity in attack today. And Rafinha had one of the worst games I've seen him having for Barca. Yes, I've seen him, be a bit, anonymous in games. But tonight, he was just a nobody. He was trying too much. He was doing too much. And where has that Rafinha gone, the big game Rafinha? Because I feel like he's overdoing things. Even against Atletico Madrid, there was many times where he could have passed Lamine Yamal for an easy pass. But he takes the shot himself. He tries to do the hard things constantly. And that isn't the Rafinha that we've seen last season. We need to see him go back to that Rafinha. Because I've always said he's their most important player. And a big game player. But recently, especially in the Atletico Madrid game, I'm not saying he could have scored more goals. But Rafinha could have done a lot more. He could have passed Lamine Yamal on a few occasions. And of course, Lamine Yamal on this form, I fully expected him to play well tonight. I fully expected him to cook Lewis Hall. But you didn't see that tonight. You've seen a few glimpses, maybe towards the byline, but there was no quality from the pass. The final third from Lamine Yamal wasn't there tonight. And it was probably one of his most anonymous and worst games for Barca. But that was really bad from Barca. Because, of course, they went down with Javi Barnes. Araujo is complaining at the referee. For some reason, complaining, while the ball's still in play. And then Rafinha had to cover him at right back. And of course, Rafinha's right back is a disaster. And then the ball comes in, Javi Barnes finishes it because Araujo leaves that space. So again, Araujo continues his big Champions League game, idiotic behaviour. He does it again. He did it against Chelsea in the group stage. And now he's done it again tonight. And that goal, of course, was the one that Newcastle has been looking for all game. They had chances to go up. They had chances. But at the end of the day, if Barcelona continuously going to play like this, there is the risk of this happening. There is the risk of another team breaking that high line. Yes, they didn't go as high as, as they usually do. But there was still threat constantly. And like I said, Barca just couldn't hold possession. Other parts that really concerned me about Barca today was the lack of chance creation. Now, lack of chance creation from the attackers. So when these substitutions started ringing, Casado came on for Bernal, who suffered an injury in that second half, or a bit of a cramp or something like that. Dani Olmo also came on. Pedri went off, which was surprising to me, but Dani Olmo gave the team something different. And that's what he did. He went past Thiago, centre-back for Newcastle, got the penalty. Lamine Yamal scores the penalty. Literally the last moment in the game. The referee then obviously blows the whistle after that. But Barcelona really, really robbed this game in terms of they really robbed that result. And look, Newcastle deserved to win tonight. And I think this is a bit of a concern for Hansi Flick because these things can't continue. Because if that was a better team tonight, if that was a Bayern Munich team, who by the way won 6-1 at Atlanta tonight, that would have been a different story. Because if you get guys like Olise, Harry Kane, Gnabry, Luis Diaz, these players, they're going to finish you off. They're going to finish you off. And if Barcelona continuously going to give away possession and they're not going to be as intense as you look, we also have to talk about that Atletico Madrid game really taking out of these Barca players. Because like I said in my match reaction, I said it in my video yesterday, Barca players were really sat on the floor, really exhausted. They gave it their absolute all. And of course, with that becomes fatigue. So I completely understand the fatigue that Barcelona are struggling with at this moment in time. I absolutely agree with it. But there is no excuse to not, there's still no excuse not to create the chances that you should be doing, and giving the cheap giveaways, and obviously not being able to then close out these teams and have a bit of a difference in terms of subs from Flick as well. Flick should have maybe added a few more subs in there. I know he did towards the second half when Bernal got injured. Dani Olmo came on, Casado came on, of course, as we mentioned. Marcus Rashford had a bit of a say in that second half as well. It has to be said that Barcelona fans should be worried, and Hansi Flick should be worried too, because if that's a different team on that night, that could be a complete different story. If that's Bayern Munich, like I said, 6-1, if that's Chelsea even, or Arsenal, that's a complete different result for Barca. And that is something that I did say, that Barcelona could definitely win La Liga, and I do think they will, because Real Madrid are shit. But in Champions League, I think it would be a big test with this high line. Barca fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you make of that performance? Are you worried, as I am, in terms of just on a footballing sense for you guys? Or are you optimistic that you got the result, and are you happy to take that back to the Camp Nou? Who was your man of the match tonight? Who was the standout for you? Was there a standout? And what do you think Flick needs to change for that second leg for this to be a more of a smoother result, and for you guys to basically finish off? I do think you will win in the second leg anyway, but it needs to be a bit more smoother. And of course, any other contracting points about the other Champions League games, don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. Of course, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the best Real Madrid football content channel in the world. And until next time,